I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn boy. The Dodgers were playing in Ebbets Field. Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese. People rode horseback from Prospect Park to Coney Island along Ocean Parkway. Coney Island Avenue still had electric trolleys. On 17th Street and Kings Highway, there was a presidential campaign stop where I saw Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy and Adlai Stevenson. We played stoop ball, box baseball, Johnny on Your Pony, stickball. I grew up in a two-family house. My cousins lived downstairs. My mom had an identical twin sister. And we both had pianos. And I loved to sit at the piano and just touch it, feel it. It was so reassuring and comforting to me, and I loved the way it sounded. And once when I was about 7, 8 years old, I was standing in the back of the living room downstairs as one of my older cousins was being given a piano lesson. And it was confusing to her, but it made perfect sense to me. And I rushed upstairs and started to play what she was struggling with. And I turned around to see the piano teacher had come up and asked me if I had learned how to do that just from standing in the back of the room. And I said, yeah. Didn't seem like any big deal to me. My parents then introduced me to my first piano teacher. Her name was Rose. And she was a fabulous pianist. Her husband was the first violinist and the concertmaster for the New York Philharmonic. And Rose instilled in me a lifelong love of classical music and the piano, and the realization that every note counts. I love playing scales, I love playing the arpeggios, I love memorizing Bach and Beethoven, Chopin. And when I learned that Dave Brubeck and Ray Charles were able to play the piano improvisationally, not from what they had memorized, I was very upset. I continued studying music through high school and college. After college, I went to a music school with a full tuition scholarship. And then I started to play, and I traveled up and down the East Coast playing with show bands, rock and roll bands, wedding bands, original music. And somewhere along the line, I got a New York State teaching license and started working with emotionally disturbed, learning disabled children at a residential treatment facility. And at first I ran the greenhouse program. They had a farm and a wildlife rehabilitation center. But I also played the piano for the chorus and school productions and transitioned to be the music teacher and spent 5 years doing that. And in that time period, I started to write my music. And at first it flowed out of me in a torrent. And it was like I was an innocent bystander to the process. It's almost like as if I had nothing to do with it. And I didn't take it seriously at first because of that. But I would go to monthly potluck dinners with a group of friends, and I would sit and play these pieces, and they loved it. They were in awe of it. So I began to think there was more there than I thought. So I recorded them and kept them on cassette, so I would have a record of them. And I met through tennis a fabulously talented man who recently was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, primarily for his work with Leonard Cohen. He's a composer in his own right, but he's also an arranger and a sound engineer, recording engineer. And with his help, and with the help of several New York City studio musicians, I've recorded over 50 of my songs. And they're expressions of my soul, of my spirit, of my feelings. It's music from my heart. And 17 years ago, I was involved in the adoption of a beautiful young Guatemalan girl. Has a fabulous spirit, beautiful person. And between the two, between being with her, because she was the best thing that's ever happened to me, and the music, I feel like I've made a contribution that I'm proud of. Thanks for letting me introduce myself. I'd love to hear your reactions to my music. Were there some you especially connected with? And what projects are you working on? What challenges are you facing? Let's support each other as we pursue our goals. My contact information is here, so please get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you.